Yes, I have returned to talk fairy tale. Finally, after good God, um, such a long freaking time. You probably, if you're a fairy tale fan, you're like, "Where's Camper 15's fairy tale manga chapter reviews for 100-Year Quest?" You know, you thought I was done, or you thought I was not reviewing the chapters and stuff like that. But no, I'm back. Um, this one video, you're gonna get 3 chapters. Like the last chapter review, you got 2 chapters. I'm sorry. You see, with me being busy in my personal life, I keep forgetting that these chapters keep coming out. And, it's always a thing where it's like, oh crap, the fairy tale chapter came out. Missed it. That's kind of how it is right now. I've been very busy with my personal life, so I literally missed the chapters, and the fact that the chapters come out every 2 weeks, it's kind of hard to keep track of. Like, even after chapter 116, I'm like, wait, so is a new chapter coming out this week or next week? I don't know. But yes, fairy tale chapter, manga chapter here review. We're getting 3 chapters covering chapters 114, 115, and 116. And a lot happened. A lot has been going on. So let's start off with manga chapter 114. Manga chapter 114 is pretty much cover page is of Natsu and Gray eating with Lucy and Juvia there. I'm guessing it'd be the perfect double date for these 4 individuals. So yes, and even Gray and Natsu compete when it comes to eating. Lucy looks like she's sick of it while she's cooking, but whatever. Anyways, in chapter 113, the whole thing was at the end, Gray switched bodies into Juvia's body, and then he realized that he can actually use Juvia's magic to his advantage. So that's what he does. Anyways, Gray in Juvia's body starts saying her magic is, even though it is pretty much water make magic, that's what he does. Does the whole stints and everything and does water make magic. Now, he's able to do pretty much all the abilities he can in his regular body, like lance, hammer, and other stuff. But it was funny how he used hammer. It didn't really have no effect because it's water. Like, it would do absolutely nothing. So yeah, now, anyways, because of this, Gray is like, okay, I gotta think about an attack Juvia freaking, does that actually like put some damage in. But all he can think about is Juvia pretty much being spent over him, just hugging him, saying Gray-sama and stuff like that. Which goes to show you that this boy, he really does love Juvia, which it's already confirmed, but he's got Juvia on the mind, and he does like the attention that Juvia gives him, and he's like, God dang it, I gotta stop this. That's not good enough. And that's when, obviously, he remembers one of the moves, and one of Juvia's moves is Water Slicer. So yeah, he's about to use Water Slicer, but the dude is like, the one guy is like, oh crap, this guy, he's insanely strong, because he never pictured that women, are that strong. Which, if you want to freaking be that type of person right then and there, then go ahead, but please, I don't want that. Anyways, Gray uses this one move called Water Make Magic Battle Axe, and it actually hits his opponent very hard. And then he freaking, just makes like this pillar of water called Gungir. And obviously, of the freaking, thief, I never got his name. I forgot his name already because it's been so long. The dude's pretty much getting beat up pretty badly, and he knows things aren't looking good. So that's kind of the thing. And he uses this new transmutability called Weak Bond. And the thing is, he's like, I wonder who you look down on the most, who you look down on the most, who's like pretty much the weakest one, or who you think is the weakest in the world. And he does it, and Gray is back in his own body. And pretty much it failed. And the reason why Gray went back to his old self is, he goes to say, a weakling, huh? I thought all sorts of him, but I couldn't lie to myself, could I? I guess that means I think I'm weak. So he pretty much thinks he's weak. I guess it makes sense in the grand scheme of his character. Um, he's had a lot of moments where he's been at his weakest in terms of the emotional parts of people close to him and them dying, and him feeling like he's not strong enough to protect them. And really the only other than his fairy tale members, the one true person he absolutely loves and cares about is Juvia. In some cases, he feels like he's not strong enough to protect her all the time. So, okay, he's back in his own body. So, um, that's the thing. He has a modest mindset, and pretty much also a great explanation is the fact that since I'm weak, my friends are there. Since I'm weak, I have a guild, right? Pretty much saying it's a power friendship thing there. It's a whole thing of, your typical thing. Without my friends and, I'm weak, but together, with them, with my guild, that's what makes me strong. So, yeah. Anyways, he goes on to say, even if I think I'm weak, it's another story when I'm in the guild. Then I can be as strong as I want to be. He uses an ice make move called Cold Slicer and pretty much freezes the dude. He drops the Dorog core, and pretty much he breaks it, and that freaking, limits more of what Dorogmog can do. Now, we cut back over to the ship where the fairy tale guild is. Juvia wakes up and she pretty much says she had a dream that she was gray, which it was legitimately true. Obviously, you have Elfman and Kana. They're just like, you really were a gray. Okay. So, yeah. And it's funny because Elfman's like, let's just drop it, man. Come on. So, yeah. But anyways, we cut back over to the battle with Natsu and Suzaku versus Dorogmog, and Suzaku is just getting his ass beat. He's getting stepped on by Dorogmog, and Dorogmog has pretty much nothing. And Dorogmog goes on to say, since the olden days, all sorts of disasters came to humans who defiled the earth. Looks like humans are stupid in any era. That's one thing I actually do agree on, because humans are stupid. If you look at North America, we got stupid politicians. I'm not going to get into that discussion right now because it's not a political video. This is a fairy tale video, but you know what I mean. We got dumb people around the world. We got a whole country attacking another country for no damn reason. And I'm over here thinking we're going to get WW3. Hopefully that still doesn't happen. Going on. Natsu goes on to rebuttal to that statement by saying, even if we are, we still lived life to the fullest. That's just how humans are. I guess that's something that some humans actually do, others don't, but whatever. Pretty much, Dorogmog goes on to say, human, I doubt that coming from you. You got dragons. No, a demon sit on you. Pretty much hinted at the fact that he has a correlation to Zeref. He's obviously E and D, technically, even though technically he isn't E and D no more, but he's E and D. He's a demon. He was recreated by the books of Zeref, yada, yada, yada. And the one thing that I did like is how Natsu said, dude, you need to freaking get your nose checked. That shit happened a long time ago. I'm not worried about that anymore. And plus, I chose to be human because if you remember way back at the end of the Alvarez Empire arc, Natsu, had an inner struggle within himself to prove, like, is he either a demon or is he either a dragon? But he came to admit that he's human at the end of the day. He goes on to do the whole thing, I'm Natsu, a fairy tale. And he actually punches Dorogmog and gets a good hit. And Dorogmog is like, wait, what the hell? Why is my body actually feeling a little bit weaker? Why am I actually taking damage? And at this point in the chapter, we find out there's 42 more Dorogmog cores left to go. And Gajeel found one. And the chapter ended off in a cliffhanger. And when I read this for the first time, I was like, are you effing kidding me? The Fairy Tale Chapter 100-Year Quest 114 ended off with God Serena appearing before Gajeel, and he obviously says God hello. And now if you remember God Serena, he was the 8 elemental dragon slayer user, which is he's pretty much he was the strongest wizard in all of Ishtar, or not Ishtar, Ishgar, And he actually worked alongside the Alvarez Empire. Well, here he now works for the Alchemist Guild, Gold Owl. So, yeah, that's crazy. So let's get to the next chapter, since chapter 115, since we're cutting in. So chapter 115, if it freaking loads on me, please and thank you. Thank you. It was titled "The Man Loved by Dragon Gods." Cover pages of Gajeel and Levy. Cute, because that's my favorite ship of the entire series. So yes. Anyways, now Gajeel obviously like, wait, didn't you freaking die in the fight against Alvarez? And obviously, you know, obviously, God Serena's like, oh yes, yes, yes. That's the case. He makes a mention of the now. Gajeel goes on to say that War at Sequin pretty much said that he was killed by Acnologia, which he was. He absolutely was killed by Acnologia. And pretty much God Serena goes on to say he was not dead after all. Now, he goes on to say, well, I mean, it was a pretty close call. I still dropped my guard and almost died for it. Luckily, a fellow from the Alchemist Guild, Gold Owl, happened to come by and save me, and I went to the northern continent. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. I feel like that's just a weird writing decision that makes absolutely no sense. Now, I might have to go back and rewatch the Acnologia killing God Serena, but if I remember, Acnologia killed God Serena right then and there. So the thing is, you're telling me that somebody from the northern continent came on the continent of Ishgard pretty much during war, when the Alvarez Empire was at war with pretty much everybody on the continent of Ishgard, or the country of Ishgard, pretty much, or not the continent of Ishgard, just pretty much the kingdom of Fiore, pretty much. Okay, like, I don't know. See, if a war was breaking out, I don't know if I would go on another person's country if there was a war breaking out, but okay. I think that was a weird writing decision by Mashima. It kind of doesn't make any sense. If it does make sense, please address it in the comment section to make things a little bit more understandable for me. But I find that weird, because I'm like, so somebody just randomly came, after he died, his corpse is right then and there, and they just brought him back to life during war. Now, mind you, I know, it strictly centered, the war strictly went to the Fairy Tale Guild, where in the city they were in, but it's still weird. I'm like, okay, whatever. I felt like this was just a way to bring him back. So yeah. Anyways, they go on. He goes on to say they transmuted the body parts that I lost. Then they welcomed me into their guild. Now, Gajeel's like, alchemists aren't wizards, and obviously God Serena's like, yeah, that's right. But I'm still a wizard though. Now he goes on. Now God Serena goes on to say, he's like, so are you a dragon slayer? Gajeel's like, yep, I am. And pretty much, God Serena's like, they call me the #1 wizard in Ishgard, the hybrid theory. 8 dragon God Serena at your service. Now, Gajeel goes on to say, last I heard, you got 8 lacrimas in your body or something. And God Serena's like, yep. Speaking of Fairy Tale, was there anyone famous from there? And pretty much he goes and make a mention that he's stronger than Gildarts, and he even goes on to say that he still to this day is stronger than Gildarts. Which I don't know. I feel like Gildarts would be insanely stronger now, but we'll see. It's been a while since we've seen Gildarts. It's been quite a while. So yes. Now, anyways, the thing is, God Serena is like, well, okay, I've introduced, I did everything I said. All right, time to go bye-bye now, or God bye-bye. And the thing is, he has one of the gemstones And God was like, yeah, you're not dealing without that gemstone. I gotta take that back, so I need to do this. Now, God Serena goes on to say he was told by the Gold Owl's master to take it back with him. I'm not letting this thing break and everything. Now, God Serena goes on to make the mention. He goes on to say, like, by the way, Gold Owl's master is something else. Same goes for the Signario sisters. To be honest, I don't even hold a candle to them. The world's a big place, after all. Makes you realize how low level Ishgar is. So now we get a panel and we only see the silhouettes of what these characters look like. So I'm guessing maybe the next arc is going to have to deal with Gold Owl, I'm guessing, after this Dorogmog situation. Because God Serena throughout this thing is like, yeah, the Gold Owl Master and the Signario sisters, yeah. To me, they're stronger than me, which is insanely crazy. So they're throwing out, Mashima's already throwing out that story point for a later point in time. I feel like we could deal with that in an arc later, or maybe the next arc after this arc. We'll see. More than likely, probably the next arc, because, well, all God Serena can do is he's just going to go back, because we see him in chapter 116. He gets away, but he lost the Rog core and everything. So he can just go back. He's like, I just ran into a member from the Fairy Tale Guild. Trust me, they were a thorn, so that could be the next thing. Or maybe we could be getting Gold Owl Guild, Alchemist Guild versus Fairy Tale Guild. I would like that, just so they can bring the Fairy Tale characters back into the story, the other Fairy Tale characters, instead of just focusing on Natsu, Lucy, Wendy, Gray, and Urza. Nothing wrong with that. They're obviously the main characters of the story. But I would like it if they're gonna do this Gold Owl versus Fairy Tale arc. I hope they utilize the other characters, the other Fairy Tale Guild members, because they're still all strong. That would be nice, to see that and everything. And hey, in that way, you can bring a Guildars back and then maybe set him up with a fight against God Serena. That's what I would do. That's what I do. Machima might go in a different direction, but I think, hey, let's throw this out. Let's have a Guild versus Guild battle again. Which we haven't gotten since, like I said, Alvarez. And if you want to even go do Guild versus Guild, technically Tartaros versus Fairy Tale, but whatever. So yeah. Anyways, the thing is, God Serena is like, please, if you think you can stand a chance, none of the 4 gods of Ishgar couldn't even take me down. Or the 4 emperors of Ishgar couldn't take me on. So Gajeel charges in, and he uses an Iron Dragon sword, and God Serena just comes in instantly and uses one of his elemental attacks, one of his 8, called Diamond Dragon Stronghold Break. So he's got a Diamond Dragon ability. It absolutely freaking beats Gajeel, knocks him down to the freaking ground with utter ease in one freaking attack. The thing is, God Serena goes on to say the Iron Dragon, but this is one of the 8 dragons within me. The Diamond Dragon is one of them. He's like, iron is too weak. Now, Gajeel goes in for another one. Now, this time he uses his Shadow Dragon abilities he got from Rogue, and he's using a combination of Iron, Shadow Dragon, and then all of a sudden, God Serena uses Flash Dragon's Augite Heaven. So, Diamond Dragon, now Flash Dragon. It's pretty much like, it looks like a solar flare from Dragon Ball, and it pretty much it damages Gajeel and forces him out as a shadow. Then, God Serena uses the next dragon ability, which is Gale Dragon, and the move's called Fury and Moonflower, and it's like these big freaking, I guess, very high speed tornadoes that is just cutting Gajeel, and he's pushing back. Gajeel's bleeding. Gajeel's pretty much getting his ass kicked. And things like that. And he goes on to say that there are 8 dragons within me. He goes on to say the elements he has is fire, water, wind, earth, thunder, stone, light, and darkness. Some of those are pretty much, if not most of those attributes, are pretty much all the Dragon Slayer attributes that we've seen in this story, which covers each of them it covers each of them, mostly all the main Dragon Slayers we've seen. So yeah, crazy enough. Um, Now he goes and say there was a time that I was called the man loved by dragon gods. He's just on his own pedestal. Now Gajeel goes and say dragon gods. He's like, don't you know there's a dragon god, a moon dragon god, and an earth dragon god right here, right now? Now God Serena is like, yeah, I know that. And now he goes, and the God Serena pretty much goes and say, now then, man who was abandoned by the dragon gods, do you have any last words? Now we see Panther Lily come through one of the portals, and he talks to Celine, and pretty much there's 21 Durag cores left, and pretty much Celine tells Panther Lily, like, listen, your partner has yet to come back. I haven't seen him, or have you seen him? Then we cut back over to the fairy tale, but this time we focus on Gajeel's love interest, or I guess you can say his girlfriend, his wife. They're not officially married, but I guess you can say his girlfriend, wife, whatever you want to call him. They focus on Levy, and you have it to where Levy has a discussion with Biska. And the thing is it's Levy kind of just wondering, like, would she be a good mother? Would she be a good parent? You know, she says her body's so small. I'm like, does that matter? No, you're a very lovable character. I would love Levy for who she is. And obviously, I'll say this. I do like this discussion because Biska is a mother, so she knows what it's like to raise a child. And I feel like this is nice development for Levy in being a family member. Now, Biska goes on to tell Levy, it doesn't matter how big or small you are, even I could do it, so it's okay. But Levy's like, but you're like dependable, Biska. Now, when I heard that line, I was like, I'm like, what the hell has Biska done this entire freaking series? The only thing I legitimately remember Biska from was that one, I guess, filler episode when they focused on how Biska first joined Fairy Tail, and then at the start of the Alvarez Empire arc when you fight off the gigantic ass cannon. Other than that, Biska literally did absolutely nothing in the storyline in terms of Fairy Tail. If not, she was a minor character with some major importance in some cases. But still, at the end of the day, it's like, dude, dependable. Levy's making Biska out to be like she's probably one of the strongest members of Fairy Tail, like at least a mid-tier level. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Now, Levy goes on to say, now, and I do like how Biska, like I said, I just made a reference to that filler episode. She goes on saying, you think I'm dependable? Man, I was a bad apple. I'm like, if you go watch that filler episode, you know what I'm talking about. And she obviously Levy ties that to Gajeel and everything. And Biska tells Levy, you know, he's like, despite how it looks, he really cares about you, Levy, which I think we know that. The guy was, I forgot. Fuck, what was the moment they had together? I think it was the Chardos moment I'm remembering, but you know, that was the thing. You know, whatever. You knew it. Their whole relationship, their whole romance angle was so sweet and everything. Levy goes and say, "Yeah, I know." Yeah. And Levy is like, suddenly, I really want to see Gajeel, which they throw out this whole Gajeel could potentially die thing again, which I was like, God, don't tell me that they're going to freaking kill Gajeel off and have Levy be like, I want to see Gajeel again. Next thing you know, oh, Gajeel's dead. Huh? And she leaves her a widow, pretty much. And the chapter ends off after God Serena pretty much beats the ever-living hell out of Gajeel. God Serena's like, a woman's name. What a shame she can never see you again. God, bye-bye. Which, like I said, they did this whole death tease. So let's get to the most recent chapter, which is chapter 116, titled Iron Revenge. Again, cover pages of Levy and Gajeel again in this. It looks like they're in, like, you know, Gajeel's dressed up as a samurai while Levy is a kunoichi ninja. So yes. But anyways, Gajeel is bleeding like freaking crazy. All of a sudden, you know, Lily comes through another portal that Celine sent him this way, and Gajeel's not talking. Now, Gajeel ends up, you know, regaining consciousness. And the thing is, they're both going together to go find God Serena because he still has the Durag core. Now, obviously, we know Gajeel's a very prideful individual. And he's still gonna fight, even though Lily's like, dude, you got beat up pretty badly. So that's the thing. Now, he goes on to say he didn't trash me, he just trashed the fairy tale name. So yeah, and it's funny because Lily's like, so you did get trashed, and God's like, I did not, damn it. So yeah, that's funny. Anyways, Lily turns into his big cat form, so they follow after God Serena, and due to Gajeel's nose, he can smell now. We get some, thing where we see the other fairy tale members pretty much breaking the Darag cores. And Celine pretty much goes on to make the mention that there's only 2 more Darag cores left. Darag will be weakened if those 2 are destroyed. Now, she's still wondering, she knows Gajeel's after 1, but she doesn't know where the other one is. And all of a sudden, and that's when all the other fairy tale members, they come back to meet Celine. And we see that Kyria actually shows up holding the one Darag core that they were looking for. And all the other fairy tale members are shocked that she's there. Now, she's like, listen, I'm not a friend or an ally to you, so don't get the wrong idea. I'm just doing this for Suzaku because he's my friend. So she breaks the Darag core, the Daragmon core, which means only Gajeel has to break the one that God Serena has. So yeah, and then you get a very funny moment between Kyria and her feelings for Gajeel. Damn it, Loxus. My God, Levy would be pissed if Gajeel was cheating on her. But you get another one of those funny moments between Kyria and Loxus, where Loxus compliments Kyria. She's like, you know what? You're not actually a bad girl. You're actually really good. You have a cute side to you. So I'm like, is Loxus getting smitten with Kyria right now? And obviously Kyria freaking gets a little bit flustered, and obviously Lucy's like, there it is, and she doesn't realize it. So Kyria and Loxus. Typically, I shipped Mara Jane with Loxus, but it seems like Kyria is going to be the girl that Loxus ends up, I guess, hooking up with. She definitely has a thing for him, and I'm down for the ship. I'm down for it. I'm down for Loxus hooking up with Kyria. We gotta have all of these girls be happy, right, guys? So yes. Anyways. The other members are wondering what's going on with Gajeel and Lily. And in the meantime, Celine actually collapses over. Now the thing is, Celine goes on to say the shape she's in, she's really kind of overdone her use of magic, and even Wendy's been healing her. But Wendy goes on to say, yes, I've been healing her, but because she's used a lot of magic, pretty much it's like as my healing's doing nothing. So yeah. Now the fairy tale members decide, like, since the gates are gone, they want to go help Natsu. Now Celine goes on to say, you need to trust your friend. Just leave the labyrinth, he'll win. So that's the thing. Now, Lily and Gajeel are falling right behind God Serena, and they get back to the outside. Now, Elsera is still collapsed out there. The one Alchemist Guild person, Golden Owl person that Gray defeated is there, and God Serena is right there waiting for him. So yeah, now God Serena is kind of shocked that Gajeel is still alive, so he's like, okay, fine. Now Lily and Gajeel charge at God Serena, and pretty much God Serena blocks Lily's attack, but he ends up getting a hit by Gajeel, and while Gajeel uses an iron slash. Now we see how, in a way, God Serena kind of covered that area up with, like, some sort of earth ability there, and he uses this next dragon ability called Cavern Dragon's Earth Collapse, and we see that his eyes actually go black, like as if he's showing off a hollow version of himself. If you watch Bleach, if you get that reference. So yes, he absolutely, like, freaking breaks the ground apart. And yeah, now he tells Sai to leave to be the ones to fight them. But listen, he does transmute another love bond, and he transforms. Obviously, Gajeel transforms obviously into Levy. Panther Lily's shocked. And it's funny because from the last chapter, Biscuit was talking to Levy. She turns her head and she goes like, "Say, Levy, you're really worried about Gajeel," and all of a sudden Levy's just like as Gajeel. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh my goodness. And now God Serena ended up getting away, but Gajeel in Levy's body is pissed off, and he's like, I don't give a fucking shit about that. He goes on to Gajeel pretty much goes on to say, right now this body is way too big of a deal. Just try putting a scratch on it, pretty much. And he pretty much uses Levy's solid script magic, just making the iron solid script, and just smashes him. Easy as that. Makes sense why he gets very defensive over that, because Levy is literally pregnant, and it's not really ideal that a pregnant woman gets involved in a fight. So yeah. And obviously Sai's like, what's with the women in this guild? Anyways, Gajeel transforms back into Levy. Levy transforms back into Gajeel. Levy goes back to her rail body. And we find out that Gajeel actually got the Drog core. He actually pretty much stole it off God Serena when he did that the Iron Shadow Dragon attack. So yes, they broke it, and now Drog Mog is at its weakest. So all the Drog cores have been destroyed. Now Natsu goes in for an attack against Drog Mog with fire around it, and the chapter ends off with Natsu giving a very critical blow to Drog Mog, who looks shocked in taking this attack. But those are the chapters. Overall, I enjoyed all the 3 chapters. They were all good, progressing the story along. So they got that mission part done. Now all Natsu has to do is defeat Drog Mog, and we can end this arc off and then go on to the next arc. Which, like I said, I'm guessing in this whole way, the way that they're taking the fairy tale arc, and then I forgot the arc that they're I forgot the arc that Kiri and Suzuki are called. I feel like after this arc, like I said, Celine those characters will go their separate ways, and they'll kind of be allies to Fairy Tail. They'll be like, listen, we don't see eye to eye, but well, thank you for helping us. So that's the whole thing. I would envision Celine would tell them, listen, you need to stop Ignia before he achieves his final plans. So yeah, and then we can definitely cut back to God Serena, where he gets back and he's confronting the Golden Owl Master and the Signario sisters, and then he could say, well, I have this crystal, and then he could realize that he lost it, and next thing you know, Golden Owl targets Fairy Tail next. So that's where I think we could be going. But so far, we got to see the defeat of Drog Mog. Don't know if they're going to kill him or something. He's a bad dragon, so they have to defeat him, but we'll see. But solid chapter. Again, sorry for getting these chapters out later than usual, but me, personal life, stuff like that. But till again, if you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the chapters of Fairy Tail that I covered, as well as hit the subscribe button. You want to get more Fairy Tail content. Are there any other anime or manga content I have listed down? Till then, guys, peace.